watching your life right now who cannot understand how you are still standing. They thought you would have given up by now. They thought the pain would have broken you. They thought the betrayal would have destroyed your confidence, and the setbacks would have buried your purpose. But here you are, not just standing, but standing taller and carrying peace they cannot explain. What confuses them isn't that you have had battles. What confuses them is that every battle that was supposed to finish you somehow became another chapter in your testimony. They don't understand it, and they can't explain it, because you are a puzzle they are struggling to solve. There was a time when they believed they knew exactly how your story would end. They watched your circumstances and confidently predicted your downfall. They assumed your future based on your present struggles. But God had already written a different ending. What protects you isn't luck or coincidence. It is the hand of God. They built their confidence in their ability to manipulate others. They knew exactly what buttons to push. They knew how to plant doubt, spread lies, create confusion. For years, those tactics worked on others. They could predict people's reactions almost perfectly. It was almost like an easy game for them. But then they encountered you, and suddenly nothing worked. They tried the same manipulation they used very easily on others. It did not work on you. Even when you stumbled, you did not stay down. That's what shocked them the most, because everyone stumbles. The difference is that a child of God does not stay on the ground. You got back up, not because you were strong enough on your own, but because God reached down and lifted you. Every time they thought, this is the end, we finally got them where we wanted. God quietly whispered, not yet. Every closed door redirected you towards a greater purpose, and they simply could not understand why. Take a moment and think about everything you've already survived. The heartbreak, rejection, loneliness, the betrayal, money struggles, sleepless nights, the silent tears, the battles no one else even knew you were fighting. There were moments when it looked impossible, moments when you questioned whether you would ever smile again. Yet somehow God carried you through it all. Now look at where you are. You are not standing because life has been easy. You are standing because God's grace has been sufficient. They only see your victory. They never saw your prayers. They never saw the night you cried before God, or the moment when all you could do was whisper the name of Christ. They don't understand that your strength was never your own. It came from the one who never sleeps, the one who never abandons his children. That's why you are still here. Long before they came together to attack you, God had already made his decision. Long before they tried to label you, God had already called you. Before they tried to curse what God intended to bless, God had already separated you for his purpose. The Bible says in Jeremiah chapter 1 verse 5, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart." God had already written purpose into your life. Before your enemies ever noticed you, God had already surrounded you with his protection. You are not overlooked or forgotten. You are chosen. That changes everything. Because when God chooses someone, no human being has the authority to cancel what heaven has ordained. They wonder why all the attacks they threw at you never worked. God stands between his children and complete destruction. There have been spiritual battles you never even knew existed. Prayers were covering you before problems reached you. God was making a way before obstacles appeared. Angels were protecting you while you were sleeping. They saw an opportunity to attack you. God already had a plan. Before they prepared an attack, God already prepared your escape. Your life has become living proof that God's protection is real. There are seasons when people were constantly watching you. They spend more time studying your life than building their own. They observed your actions but could not fully understand your source. Your source is God, and that's what they can never monitor. That is why you remain a mystery. There were moments when darkness tried to convince you that you would never recover. They hoped you would stop believing, but every attack failed to erase God's promise. The Bible says in Luke chapter 10 verse 19, "I have given you authority to trample on snakes and scorpions, and to overcome all the power of the enemy. Nothing will harm you." You did not overcome because you are fearless. You overcame because Christ is with you. They are asking questions. Who exactly are you? Why do you keep rising? Why do you keep finding peace after pain? Why does every setback somehow become another testimony? The answer is this: you are a God seed, and no matter how deeply a seed is buried, it was never buried to die, but rather planted to grow. Because seeds grow in hidden places before they ever become visible. God has been developing your character where nobody could see, preparing you for a harvest far greater than your current season. That is why you cannot judge your future by today's circumstances. God is still growing something beautiful. The more you trust God, the more impossible you became to figure out. Not because you are hiding anything, but because your life no longer follows human expectations. It follows divine purpose. They will continue trying to understand why you survived, why you are still standing, and doors continue opening for you. Let them wonder, because the answer has always been the same. God has never left your side. The one who knew you before you were formed is still guiding your steps today, and his promises never fail. Isaiah chapter 54 verse 17 reminds us of God's promise. No weapon forged against you will prevail, and you will refute every tongue that accuses you. This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord, and this is their vindication from me, declares the Lord. So lift your head and keep trusting God, because you are not simply another face in the crowd. You are chosen. You are a child of the Most High God, and no matter how hard they try, they will never solve the puzzle that God Himself designed. Thank you for watching, and may God bless you.